What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV here. Look, I know this video that I'm about to make is going to be, maybe it's not going to be a popular video. I know a lot of people may thumbs down this video. They may not agree with it because it's not the popular thing to go against this person right now because he's hot, he's red hot, he's on fire. And I'm not necessarily going against him. I'm just speaking my piece about something, right? So I posed a question to you all. Do you all think that Kwame Brown has now taken things too far? And I asked that because, you know, when he first started making videos, I was all for him defending himself as a man. You defend yourself as a man. People get tired of being the butt of jokes. For 20-something years, he's been the butt of people's jokes. People been ridiculing him and criticizing him, and many times unfairly for a very, very long time. So I get it. You coming out and defending your name. You got kids. You don't want to have your kids Googling your name and all they can see is you're a bum, you're a bust, you're a scrub, so on and so forth, right? So I understood that. I even made a video supporting him and saying I understand where he was coming from. However, now I think it's gotten to a point where it's about being as petty and disrespectful as possible. And that's something that I can't be on board with. And I say that because even in his exchanges with Matt Barnes, on the first day, he was just going at Matt Barnes, I believe. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. He was just going at Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson and Gilbert Arenas head up, talking about them. However, as people started to come to his channel, they started to gravitate towards him, his followers started to increase, his subscribers started to increase, I feel like it went somewhere else. It even went to him talking about Matt Barnes, talking about Matt Barnes' children, talking about a scenario with his children. Now, he didn't say anything disrespectful about his children in particular. However, he made a joke about the Derek Fisher and Matt Barnes situation and then told Matt Barnes, go get that man some gas money to go pick them kids up, woo-woo, and all that. Like, I don't think that's cool. I think that's stepping over the line, making a joke involving somebody playing, like basically saying he playing daddy to your kids and all. That's disrespectful. That's below the belt. And I think that's corny, right? Because as a man with children, 2 children myself, there are certain things that I won't do, right? Morally within myself, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. However, there are things that lines I will not cross. When I have an issue with a man, my issue is with that man. I won't bring up that man's personal life or anything with his children. I won't bring up nothing with that man's lady at all. And I've been in situations where I could have brought up situations with a person's children or the mother of their child, right? I've even been in situations where I was into it with guys, and a old lady tried to talk to me on a slick. But I never brought that to light because my issue is with that man, not with that woman, right? Now, if the woman come in, that's whatever. But if I'm talking to that man, I'm only going to keep my disrespect or whatever. I'm only going to be going at this man, period. So I felt like when he got to that level, I felt like that's when it started to get out of hand. I'm like, man, and people love it. And my problem, I was like, man, people are really, really replaying this clip. They laughing at this clip, thinking it's hilarious. And I'm like, damn, people, sometimes our people love bullshit and love disrespectful shit going back and forth. Excuse my language. They love that. They talk about the media spewing it, but they love disrespectful, I'm talking about low blow disrespectful shit. People love it and gravitate towards it. They think it's the most funniest thing in the world, and they gravitate to the most disrespectful person. Now, I know people gonna play devil's advocate with me and say, well, Kwame's been a butt of people jokes. They kind of joked on Kwame. They didn't make a heinous joke, but it was a joke about Kwame's career. So they're like, all bets are off, all gloves are off. However, Kwame, in his response, he talked about, you know, basically people disrespecting other black men and disrespecting black women's sons. Stop playing with people's mama's son and all of that. I'm like, man, and I feel like when it went to the kids and all that, that should have deaded that. But people have, I feel like they geeking them up. And they gravitating to it, running towards that type of disrespect. And I feel like the more subscribers he's gotten, the fame has seemed to embolden him to become more disrespectful, like taking it up a notch, right? And for me, man, I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that at all. And the problem comes into play when you're being disrespectful and no one is telling you, hey, that's not okay, that's not all right, you're wrong. And the thing I don't think Kwame Kwame's a very smart dude, so I think he realizes it. He realizes that, you know, the more he goes on these rants, people are going to follow him. They're going to subscribe to him. They're going to, I mean, just become huge fans and supporters. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, I want supporters on my channel. Everybody that makes a channel wants supporters and they want subscribers. But I don't want it to become where he gets way disrespectful, where it's just over the line and crossing the line. I feel like the people, and what's crazy is the people who are all on Kwame's channel now and supporting him, I bet you my bottom dollar. For real. Matter of fact, I bet you my wallet. If you type in the name of more than half of his subscribers on Twitter and type their name in along with Kwame Brown, if they basketball fans, you can see them making jokes about Kwame Brown heinously. Laughing at Kwame Brown, joking about him like it ain't no tomorrow, retweeting Stephen A. Smith talking about Kwame Brown. Before this, a couple of weeks ago, they probably was all talking. You could see jokes about Kwame Brown all down their timeline or previously in the past. But now, you know, they all for Kwame, they going at everybody else. So people are finicky and people switch up every single day. And I understand people can change, but I'm just posing a point, right? I think that there's a limit to everything. I'm all for a man defending himself, but when you get to going at other people that have nothing to do with it and making jokes about them, it's like, that's when I jump off of it, right? And in my opinion, I feel like, again, it's getting outside of just defending yourself. Case in point, I remember when so Jamel Hill said Kwame Brown woke up and chose violence this morning, right? Or something like that. And that's a saying that people use. It's a social media saying people use. They like, oh man, this person's snapping. They ain't playing. They ain't going for none of that. They going off. That's all that means. Kwame, like, and Kwame may be out of touch with social media lingo or the young folks lingo or whatever, or, you know, the term, somebody chose violence. He like, oh my God, he's basically said she tried to paint him as being a violent and a heinous person and so on and so forth. And she was just saying Kwame ain't playing with folks and he's snapping, man. And he took it as she trying to paint him in a way to villainize him to the world, to the media, and make him look like he's a violent black man and all of that. And a lot of Kwame's followers are jumping right onto that bandwagon, even though they know that saying is just like a joke, and that's all she meant was he wasn't playing with nobody this morning. However, they're choosing to use the narrative that Jamel is trying to make him look like a violent, angry black man, that he will terrorize every single body, and that's not where she was coming from. But I know why people are going at Jamel Hill like that. The reason why they're doing it is because back in the day, some years ago, Jamel Hill said something about black men being the white men of society or something like that, and some shit. It was something that I didn't agree with that shit at all either. However, even though I don't agree with somebody's point, I can also say, hey, I know that person didn't mean that like that. She just meant Kwame Brown wasn't playing with folks no more, which he wasn't. But people chose to just like, oh, Jamel is trying to make him villainize him or whatever, because they are upset at her about what she said about black men before. So they just snapping on her, even though they know what she meant. They know she didn't mean any harm. Kwame may not have known that. He may not have known that, and he may not agree with what Jamel Hill said before, so he wanted to snap on her in the first place. But he may not have known where she was coming from, but a lot of his followers and subscribers know. However, with them knowing better, they still are not going to tell him, hey, I don't think she meant nothing like that, Kwame. They're going to let it ride. They're going to let it ride because they don't like her in the first place. So they're going to let him go ahead and go at her disrespectfully or whatever. They're going to let him come at her in any way that they want. Now, he didn't call her name, but he was addressing her, and he's snapping on anybody that even utters his name, right? So my thing is this, and Kwame doesn't like fanboys. He doesn't like people who are fanboys of people in the media, right? And my problem is that now Kwame has a lot of fanboys himself. People who cannot tell a man when he's being wrong and when he's being petty. And that's not okay. Again, as a father with children, I would never bring nobody's children into nothing. I would never go that low. I would never bring anybody's family, because if nobody's doing that to me, I'm not going to do that to them at all. at all. I'm not like that. And you can say, oh, well, you being soft. I don't know. It's your choice to say that. I mean, I'm a square dude and grew up in the neighborhoods that I grew up in Chicago, Illinois, and I survived that. So I don't think I'm soft. You know, I'm a square, and I lived in some of the craziest, wildest hoods you can think of in Chicago, and I made it out and survived that. But nonetheless, it ain't even about being soft. It's just about being respectful to people and, you know, not being about disrespect. A lot of people say they don't like disrespect they don't like black men disrespecting other black men on media. But, I mean, Kwame is disrespecting some black children, right? I mean, not black children. He's not disrespecting black children. He's disrespecting a black man by even talking about a situation involving his kids in front of the light. Now, nonetheless, we know what happened and we saw it and everybody's privy to it. But it's like, nah, bro, he's disrespecting a black man in the same breath. Now, again, I'm all for him defending himself, but when it went beyond that, it's like, okay, now you disrespecting black men too. So it's kind of looking like, Also, this is the thing too. Again, a lot of Kwame's fan base have become fanboys where they don't think he can do any wrong, and that's not okay. No man is above reproach. Not myself, not anybody on this earth. But now Kwame is so hot right now. Don't nobody want to say nothing bad against him because they feel like, one, he gonna snap on them, or two, they just so fanned out and they just so happy he's going against people that they don't like themselves. They don't know when a person is just doing too much. Like it's getting petty. He's mentioning people that have not even said anything about him because they're attached to certain platforms, right? Like, I don't like, and correct me if I'm wrong, did Angela Yee say anything bad about Kwame? I don't know. Did she? I don't know. But he going at any and everybody. Just if you with the Breakfast Club, he going at you. I know what Charlamagne did wasn't right, as mentioning that, you know, his family's history or, you know, history with violence or whatever. That wasn't right. But I don't know, man. I think like he's going, like, okay, for example, he said that LeBron James is a puppet, right? Now, even if that's true, he had a problem with black entertainers or black media members attacking other black men without having conversations with those black men and going at people's mama's sons, right? If you calling LeBron a puppet and so on and so forth, you said you respected his game, you respected what he did with the school, but you call him a puppet and so on and so forth. Well, Kwame, even if LeBron is, you coming at somebody else's son too. You talking about you're attacking another black man in the media as well. And people are going to agree with you because they don't like LeBron James. A lot of older black men do despise LeBron James, maybe because of the Jordan thing. They think he's a crybaby or whatever. I don't know. They don't like him being, quote unquote, trying to be woke. They don't like that or whatever. But I mean, Kwame, if you don't want anybody talking about you, how you going to talk about some other man that you don't know personally, right? So it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's going to a place where I think it's going a little too far, right? Once pettiness comes into play with personal, for example, with him mentioning Derek Fisher and all that to Matt Barnes and everything like that, is crossing the line at that point. And again, you can call me soft or whatever, but it is what it is. I'm just not a person who, if I got a problem with a man, I'm gonna talk to that man and talk shit to that man and tell him about himself, not about his family life and his children and all that and what somebody else doing with his kids. I'm not gonna go to that level or go to that extent, especially when that person didn't go there with me. While you can't control how a person responds to things, it's just certain things. I feel like Kwame became emboldened by people gravitating toward his disrespectfulness, towards him and people gravitated to him snapping, right? And I had no problem with a man defending himself, but sometimes it go a little too far. And clout is a dangerous drug. And I'm not saying because, like, Kwame's whole purpose, I believe, was to defend himself, but to also build his platform, right? And I just feel like the more his following is getting big, the more he's snapping, going off. And I think everything has a limit, man. And especially when he was mad at black media members, former hoopers attacking other black men. And I feel like, hey, he doing basically, you almost doing the same thing as on certain instances, right? So it's one thing to defend yourself, but if LeBron ain't say nothing about you, you a puppet and you this and you that and all of that and you part of the boys club and all of that. Even if that's true, like if you're against black men attacking other black men, why go to that level? You know what I mean? Another thing too, I feel like he gonna keep going on Matt Barnes and them. Matt Barnes said his piece. Matt Barnes basically told him that he can invite him on the show. He don't have to come on the show, but Matt Barnes told him, hey, we can fight or whatever, right? And I know it's more about Kwame building up his platform, because if he really was like, hey, I want to fight, I want to get my respect out you, whatever, I didn't hear him say anything to accept the challenge to a fight. Now, I don't want to see black men fighting on camera and all of that, and nothing like that. But if that's the case, if you so mad at him and you feel like he this and that and he a B and he all of this, why not just fight him and get it over with, rather than just keep talking and keep it going? I don't know, man. I'm just not a fan of a lot of pettiness back and forth. You know what I mean? I don't know. And a lot of people saying, hey, Kwame beat the brakes off Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes ain't beat up nobody. He ain't did nothing or whatever. And we don't know. I ain't saying that, but all I can say is I know that even though Kwame's a bigger dude, when has size ever really, like, I seen dudes 5'9" in my city, Chicago, Illinois. I seen dudes 5'9" knock out dudes that was 6'5", 6'6". So, I mean, whatever. But I'm not for them individuals fighting each other or nothing like that. But I mean, if you're so upset at him and you want to get your frustration out, I mean, why not take that man off or up, fight him, get in the gloves, piece it up, and let bygones be bygones and move on, is what I'm saying. Move on from it and keep it going. At this point, I think Kwame is just so enraged. He was enraged at first, but now it's just like, this is just for kicks. I'm just going to get my rocks off, because he felt like everybody was getting their rocks off on him for years. But sometimes I feel like the anger is misdirected, because this is the thing, too. I really think Michael Jordan tormented him. But Kwame is not going to say anything to Michael Jordan. He going to say everybody puts Mike on a pedestal and worships him, which is true, right? Kind of people worshiping Kwame almost the same type of way now. But anyway, no, I'm not going to say that, because Michael is just like, people revere the ground Michael Jordan walk on like he is Jesus Christ. But Kwame is like, basically, he won't say anything to Michael Jordan, even though everybody kind of figures Michael Jordan kind of tormented him in ways. Now, Wizards players are not gonna say that, because Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan, and Kwame know Michael Jordan got a lot of power and a lot of status, and he not gonna really say nothing at Mike, because he knows there are consequences and repercussions to saying things about Michael Jordan from a lot of people who he may not even know, because Michael Jordan is such a beloved figure, right? But I feel like now it's starting to get way out of hand and it's crossed the line, and I think it's just like, at some point you gotta cut that off. Okay, you defended yourself, keep it moving. Now with Stephen A. Smith, okay, I understand Stephen been talking about him. Stephen A. Smith got popular off talking about him and had a few rants about him, right? But with other people, it's like, bro, nah, I just didn't feel talking about a scenario with somebody's kids and all that. I think that's way corny, super corny, and I think that's not okay. But Kwame's built up a fanboy base that will never criticize him. They think everything he does is okay. It's all right, until Kwame says something about them and their kids or a situation. Then I believe then it'll be below the belt at that point. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I don't believe in bringing other people kids or mentioning people's family stuff into a situation where I'm getting into it with this man. If I'm talking to you man on man, we can talk about each other's man. We can talk about each other. But I ain't gonna play on the situation that happened with your kids and your ex-wife. I'm not gonna do none of that. I just think that's corny. I can handle you by talking about you and talking about your ass. But I think now, man, it's going to a point where it's just going too far, and it gotta stop. It gotta stop. But a lot of our people love bullshit so much, they stirring it up, egging it on. I mean, just encouraging it because they like it. And Kwame talking about people that they don't like, so they all for it. It's a section of, and Kwame got a fan base. Kwame is really speaking to a lot of conservative black males, right? Nothing wrong with being conservative or whatever. If you're conservative, whatever. But if you're undermining the efforts of black people's advancements, I ain't riding with your ass at all. But he speaks to a lot of black conservatives. And a lot of times black people are conservative by nature when it comes to certain things. But he's speaking to a lot of black male conservatives in particular. And they love it. They love you talking about LeBron. They love you talking about certain stuff because so they gonna egg on the bullshit. But I'm gonna say if Kwame is against black men being talked about in bad ways in the media, I believe that at some point he has to take his own advice and back off, especially to other people who have not really said anything disparaging about him or anything negative about him. At some point it has to cease. And you have to move on to just talking about your regular topics. Hey, this is a cool way to get people to come to your channel. His subscriber count went up crazy. You know what I'm saying? I was all for it. I'm like, okay, cool. Defend yourself as a man. Defend your honor. That's what men do. But men don't be petty. Men don't, it's just like, I don't think men should be trying to bring other people's families in situations they got with other men. Handle that personal beef with that man, right? If he don't go personal with you, don't go personal with him. You know what I'm saying? To the point where it's like, damn, that's a low blow. Because you're talking about somebody's kids, people will kill you if you're talking about a situation with their kids. People will be willing to go to a level you may not be willing to go to. I don't know what Kwame is or what he don't. I heard he was showing his gun collection and all that. I don't know. But people out here ain't playing like that. You can't play with no man and talk about their kids and all of that, think it's all sweet and it's all cool, and people making Kwame think it's all right to do that type of stuff. But I'm a black man that's going to say, nah, man, you got to stop. At some point, man, cut it out. You talk about black men talking down to other black men. It got to stop. It got to stop on your end, too. And go on and speak your piece and thrive in your channel and talk about world topics that you were doing beforehand, before you got popular. And that's all I'm saying. I know it may not be the popular opinion, but that's just how I feel, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Machiavelli Mills TV. I even seen people going at him because with the Breonna Taylor thing and suggesting that Breonna Taylor didn't date street dudes or whatever, she wouldn't have put herself in a position for that to happen to her and so on and so forth. So it's a lot of people that's like, don't feeling some type of lukewarm about Kwame. There's some people that love Kwame and some people feeling other ways, but I feel like if Kwame doesn't want to talk other black men talking down about black men on TV, if you don't want black men talking about other black men on TV and talking down on them, he got to do the same thing. Don't talk about other people, mama's sons, especially if they didn't come at you. That's just my thing. And at some point, the talking down on other black men, they got to stop from his end too, and he got to move on to other topics and other things. Y'all can hate me all you want to, you can be mad, but that's my piece. Machiavelli Mills TV, I'm out. Peace.